Hey, how's it going, friends? Welcome to VR Revelations. Thank you for tuning in. Please give this video a like and make sure you subscribe for future coverage. So, it is March 22nd, the year of our Lord 2023, and it looks like a Ukrainian general has warned Zelensky that the city of Avdiivka is about to fall, and this is mainly due to the fact that most of the forces right now have been deployed to Bakhmut. Now, I'm going to show you on the map in case you don't know where Avdiivka is and just how close it is to Bakhmut. So if we zoom out here, we can see the front lines. You'll notice that Avdiivka is right down here in this area. You can see that the Russians are carrying out an encirclement around the city, much like Bakhmut. Now, apparently there's been a lot of fierce fighting in this area also, but as we're going to read from the article, a Ukrainian general warned Zelensky that the city is probably going to fall into Russian hands, and apparently one of the reasons is because most of the forces have been deployed to Bakhmut since Zelensky has been doubling down on Bakhmut stubbornly and not wanting to let Bakhmut fall, which again makes the eventual victory by the Russian army that much more important. Of course, as I've been covering throughout the conflict here in Bakhmut, the Western media has been trying to downplay the situation here and the importance of Bakhmut, but Zelensky numerous times has contradicted them. He's made statements like Bakhmut is a fortress and Bakhmut will hold. And so a lot of troops have been dying in this area here in Bakhmut. Of course, there are Russian casualties also, but I believe that the Ukrainian forces are definitely more than the Russian soldiers that are being killed in this area. And so we can see now that, it's growing ever tighter here, the Russian encirclement around Bakhmut. We can see that they are close to the center of the city pretty much here. And so who knows when Zelensky is going to give the order to evacuate the city. Again, weeks ago, the West, the United States, has been advising Zelensky to give up the city and to save his reserves or his army for a future battle. And what is happening now is that this is costing him in other places like Avdiivka here. So this is going to collapse here according to the Ukrainian general. Now, this isn't Russian propaganda. This is coming straight from Ukraine itself. And of course, now, I'm not pro-Russian, but I have to be sincere with what I believe, and I believe that Bakhmut is also going to fall. We can see the Russian forces have actually advanced quite past Bakhmut here. They're pretty close here to Previla or however you say that, and you can see they're starting to make their way towards Slovyansk and Kramatorsk. And so once Bakhmut and Avdiivka collapse here, it's just going to send the Ukrainian forces, rushing towards these cities. But if the Russians take advantage of that, they will be able to catch them on the run here. But there's been catastrophic losses here for the Ukrainian army in these cities, and again, that's due to the fact that Zelensky is the one that's giving Bakhmut the importance, right? Even though the West is trying to downplay the importance of that city. But anyways, let's jump into the article here by War News 24/7. So you can see it says, Russian advance from north and south of Avdiivka. Ukrainians run out of reserves and ammo. Fortify coke plant for final battle. Remember, the West is trying to propagate this rumor that Russia is running out of ammunitions, that they are seeking, the Chinese's help. And the U.S. has actually warned China not to send any ammunition or weapons to Russia, while at the same time they are involved in the war supplying Ukraine. So hypocrisy going on there, right? Do as I say, not as I do. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the article here. It says, the situation of the Ukrainian forces in Avdiivka is extremely critical, which forced Lieutenant General Zelensky to inform Volodymyr Zelensky that the city will soon be lost due to the commitment of all reserves to Bakhmut. The Ukrainians are trying with all their available forces to keep the remaining supply routes open and to prevent a complete operational encirclement of the city, which is happening as we saw there, much like Bakhmut. The city is already semi-encircled. Russian forces note that Bakhmut's plan is also being implemented here by cutting off Ukrainian formations from the main supply routes. Again, they will continue to do this as long as it continues to work. If the Ukrainians can't find a remedy or a solution to these tactics, then we're going to see this throughout the conflict. The Russian units attacking the area are the DPR 1st Army Corps, the 53rd Mechanized Brigade, the 72nd Mechanized Brigade, the 6th Independent Sniper Battalion, units of the 59th Mechanized Infantry Battalion, as well as the 55th Artillery Brigade. The city is a strategic hub and has an industrial center where the Avdiivka coal and chemical plant is located, and is the largest producer of coal tar and other materials in Europe. So, expect the West to start propagating the lie that this city is not important because they know it's going to fall into Russian hands. So, that's to be expected in war, right? Propaganda. You never want to congratulate your enemy for their victories, nor do you want to give their victories importance. On the contrary, right? You want to let people know that it's not that bad, that the cities aren't that important. So definitely expect to start seeing articles saying that Avdiivka is really not that important, and that Ukraine is carrying out some sort of strategy there to back out of the city strategically or something like that. It says the civilian population of the city before the start of the war was 32,000 people. We actually have some video here from War News 24/7. It says Ukrainian prisoners. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alright, so you can see here, looks like it's drone footage. Looks like these are Russian forces, obviously, and they've captured these Ukrainians here. And they are now prisoners of war, as you can see there. So there you go, guys. It looks like those Ukrainian forces were captured there. Okay, we have more footage of Ukrainian prisoners. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can see here they are searching the Ukrainian soldiers, and they are tied up. Looks like they have some sort of letters or something like that. This is the reality of the situation, guys. This is the reality of war here. Luckily for these men, they were captured instead of killed. Of course, we don't know exactly what's going to happen to them. We've heard rumors that, Russian forces often will, have prisoner exchanges with the Ukrainians, since the Ukrainians, have Russian prisoners also, prisoners of war. But anyways, there you have it, guys. You can go look at the full footage on the website there, War News 24/7. So it goes on here. It says, Avdiivka, she will become the second Bakhmut. Ukrainian official says eastern city of Avdiivka could soon become a second Bakhmut. The spokesman for Ukraine's military command in Tavria said he agreed with British intelligence assessment that Russia was putting pressure on the supply lines to Avdiivka as it did around Bakhmut. The thing here is that they're focusing all of their strength and force on, Bakhmut. So if they divide that, it's only going to weaken both of the cities, which will precipitate their complete collapse and, could be a catastrophic decision. The enemy is constantly trying to surround the city of Avdiivka. I very much agree with my colleagues from the UK that Avdiivka may soon become the second Bakhmut, Ukrainian official Oleksiy Mitrashivsky said. However, I would like to say that the Russian units do not have successes in their attacks in the direction, he added, which does not correspond to reality. Of course, you got to take all of this information with a grain of salt, guys, from both sides. But we can clearly see from the map that the Russians are the ones that are on the offensive. As you can see here, the Ukrainians just continue to try and hold these strategic cities, but that's one of the reasons why they are suffering a lot of casualties. So we have more video here. Russian drone hits Ukrainian soldiers in Avdiivka. Let's go ahead and take a look at that here. You can see that's some sort of bomb that's dropped there by the drone. So we know that Russia does have kamikaze drones, but they also like to use drones to just fly over where the enemy units are and drop bombs on them. Now it doesn't look that damaging from the video there, guys, but you can imagine just being those soldiers on the ground there around that explosion. We have some more video. I'm not gonna take a look at all of them, guys. It would extend this video far too long, so go ahead and check that out on War News 24/7. It goes on here. The Russian army is advancing from the north and the south. The next few hours are critical. Commenting on the news of the start of an operational encirclement of Avdiivka, Ukrainian Maxim Morozov said that the streets were always, if not under Russian fire, then under artillery control of Russian troops. And during the 9 years of war, the battles were fought here. When the full-scale invasion began, many thought that Avdiivka would fall within hours, he said. Russian troops are advancing towards Orlovka to cut off the supply lines of the armed forces of Ukraine and Avdiivka. The settlement is important because through it, as well as through the settlements of Latochkino and Tonenkoye, pass three main supply routes for the Ukrainian formations located in Avdiivka. According to Russian military correspondents, the route passing through Orlovka may come under the fire control of Russian troops within the next 24 through 48 hours. Currently, the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine near Orlovka are under intensive attack by the artillery of the armed forces of the Russian Federation and the aircraft of the aerospace forces of the Russian Federation. So we have some thermal footage there. Again, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. They fortify the coke factory for the final battle. According to British intelligence, now this is the British who are saying this, who are often a lot more honest than the United States and Ukraine, Avdiivka coke and chemical plant will become the key zone of the coming battles. The last thought resistance of the armed forces of Ukraine is expected in the area of the Avdiivka coke plant, the industrial zone of which favors long-term defense thanks to underground communications and facilities. According to British information, the 1st Army Corps, formerly the People's Militia of the Donetsk People's Republic, is operating mainly in the direction of Avdiivka. It is staffed by DPR soldiers who know the area well and are noted for their high fighting ability and motivation. Avdiivka has been on the line of contact between Russian and Ukrainian forces since 2014. The town's main industrial enterprise is the Avdiivka coke plant. Distribution of Ukrainian forces southwest of Avdiivka. By March 2023, the losses of some units of the armed forces of Ukraine in Avdiivka reached 40%. The total number of operational reserves of the armed forces of Ukraine in Avdiivka is estimated at only 1.2 to 1.5 thousand people, so not much. The military command of Ukraine is well aware of the importance of Avdiivka. That is why he is trying with all his might to hold back the attack of the Russian troops. Despite heavy losses, the Ukrainian army commits reserves to the region. Again, they have no other option, guys. Of course, they have to continue to fight there, but they're not receiving any type of help from the West that's actually going to give them the ability to carry out some sort of counteroffensive. So a lot of these units are just getting destroyed in these choke points. And again, they're being given the order, even if it's not the smartest decision. Zelensky is the one that is in charge and essentially is giving the order to deploy these units to these cities. According to military experts, the neighboring settlements of Zelenoye, Ocheretino, Umanskoye, and Progress, 20 kilometers west of Avdiivka, the armed forces of Ukraine gathered at least 3 groups consisting of 70 to 85 people from the 6th RSD of the armed forces of Ukraine. About a battalion was assembled to reinforce the 110th Mechanized Brigade. Also, about a battalion could be assembled to quickly replace the losses in the 72nd and 53rd Motorized Brigade, as well as the 59th Motorized Infantry Brigade. Due to the risk of operational encirclement, the Ukrainian command is forced to commit part of the reserves to the battle for the defense of the city in an attempt to organize counterattacks towards the settlements of Krasnogorivka and Stepov. So we have a thermal footage here. It says forces of the Sparta battalion bombard Ukrainians with a drone in the Vodiane near Avdiivka. So similar footage to what we saw in the other video here. However, this is thermal. So wow, there you go. There, an explosion there, pretty close to that soldier, guys. So looks like he's walking away from it. Another bomb right on the soldier. If that soldier is alive, guys, he probably has shrapnel in his body. You can see another bomb drop there on that trench there, it looks like. Wow, with many soldiers in there. And yeah, these guys are completely unaware. Wow, that is that's terrible. Those are direct hits, guys. These are men that are being killed, right? And of course, this is a war. It's going to happen. Now, you can get into an ideological debate about it or a political debate with no end, but this is what is happening on the battlefield here. So we have more footage. However, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. And we have some maps there, but we already saw what is happening down here in Avdiivka, guys. So it's going to be interesting here and see what Ukraine decides to do. They're either going to let Avdiivka fall and continue to focus all their forces on Bakhmut here, which I think is the more likely option, or they are going to decide to split their forces to both cities, which is just going to weaken Bakhmut furthermore and probably precipitate the fall of that city there. So, yeah, things are not looking good for Ukraine. The Russians continue to make these choke points here as they close in the encirclement. And Ukraine is pretty much just waiting for more Western help here. But yeah, things are looking dire. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.